Welcome, everybody. This is Derek Freund, high atop the second floor Mastermind Hideout. Thank you for my sound engineer. I don't know how sound that is, but that's the old breakup song, or better known as They Just Don't Write That Way Anymore. So, I think I was 15 years old when that song came out. So, kids, if I'm dating myself, forgive me. Content workshop. We're ready to rock here. We've got a lot of content and not a lot of time to do it. So keep your thinking caps on. This is live. We're doing this here. Known as Coach Derek, had to train up for this here. And as a coach, one of the things you need to ask yourself is, did you get better today? And that's part of my goal, what we're having to do. I like the music here, the rhythms and the rhymes, the soundtrack of our lives. We've got a number of people on the call, on the webinar today, but I am high atop my mastermind hideout here, and I want to treat this like this is a one-on-one session just between you and me, and we'll get to work. By the way, Rogue Marketing Systems is my company. I represent and speak for Constant Contact as a local authorized expert. Been involved with Constant Contact since 2010, which now probably makes me a dinosaur in the business. But I got started relatively late in life, not because I'm a computer technician. Matter of fact, I am technophobic for the most part. But if I can learn it, you can learn it too. We have a special free offer at Rogue Marketing Systems. It's the Reckoning webinar. This is about direct response marketing. That presentation is not specifically about email marketing. So if you're interested in that, it's a $100 value. It's yours free, and that's starting in a couple days. Today we have the content workshop, what to say and how to say it. Today you will have the opportunity to forever change the way you think and profit from marketing. We're going over some both technical and creative issues here. Technical in the way that it's distributed in terms of the media, but creative in the development. We think of this as a creative process. So let's meld the two and think of those together. I come from an athletic background here, and it's all about teamwork. This was from a CrossFit competition. This is where the guys carried the ladies. See, I have an advantage, though. I'm about twice the age of the people here, so I've been working out since I've been 12 years old, so I have an advantage. It's old man strength, or whatever they want to tell me. A question somebody had where they said, why should I listen to you about new and different strategies to multiply my sales and profits, business and everything? So I want to answer that question if anybody is skeptical. I am a speaker and an author. I speak in front of big groups. I speak with small groups, online, offline. I'm just passionate about what I do. And I own my own business. I work directly with clients. This is not theoretical ivory tower material. This must work every day, or I would not survive and my clients would not tolerate that. Rogue Marketing Systems, we work in over 156 different business categories: business to consumers, profit, nonprofit, etc. here. If you go, oh, that's a good idea, but that wouldn't work in my business, sorry guys, you're probably wrong. This works in every business. We train others to be self-sufficient, do-it-yourself marketers. We have low-cost, high-profit, semi-customized campaigns, and I also operate as an outsourced Chief Marketing Officer, where I work directly with the CEO or the Vice President of Sales coordinating material here. So we want to treat this as if it was a private session, so that today I am your Chief Marketing Officer and you can learn how to do this. If you need help, we'd be happy to do that too. This direct response principles have been published in all the major business publication, Harvard Business Review, Cranes, Inc. 500, Success Magazine, USA Today, etc. Interesting with marketing, I don't think anybody is born knowing how to market. There's nothing really intuitive to this. I started off very young. That picture there, I graduated in 1985. there were certainly full color pictures then. That was from an old newsletter that was printed that we reproduced, but certainly a baby face. And then 20 years ago, when I started my consulting business in my basement, that was my two youngest children, who now, fast forward 19 or 20 years later, are pretty much grown up. So that's some of my background. Mentors and motivators are very important. And I've been to a handful of presentations or sermons that have just forever changed my life. I've been to hundreds of seminars. Most all of them were good. Some have been stinkers. I really hope to be the eye opener for you, that this presentation, this material is the beginning of a journey that we can share together by just opening up your ideas to a new way of thinking. Is that going to happen with everybody in my audience? Certainly not. I hope they're always good, but I hope you are the one that will be forever changed. Dan Kennedy is a New York Times bestseller. His newsletter, his material has had an incredible impact on my life. On the upper right-hand side there, you'll see The Ultimate Success Secret, a book that I co-authored with him. That, by the way, is available as a free download on Rogue Marketing Systems. If you haven't got that afterwards, go ahead and get yourself. It's a motivational book. It's very exciting. Another book I have authored is, and this is actually the hard copy of that, is the Book of Marketing. You can get this as a free download. This was an unadvertised free bonus here, but I want to make a very important point about content, and I want this to serve as an example. So you use text to join. This is a service, part of your Constant Contact account. If you don't have one, we'll get you set up. And you go to the Join My Mailing List section, and you go text to join. You text ROGUE, that's ROGUE, to 22828. Now, this is a sample of content. So this is a book on marketing, its definition, its glossary of terms. It will open your mind to different ideas, different definition. What is a call to action? What does above the fold mean? What is a limited offer? What is scarcity? All these marketing terms. I'm sorry, I just noticed in the picture there, I'm holding a microphone and I'm doing this with my hands. I'm not mimicking myself, that's just a habit. This represents content here that I can use over and over. It represents a way that people will join my list. You're already on it, but I want you to get the free book. So use that as both the content that I can share with you as a marketing expert, but also as an example of the same type of thing that you could use in your business. It may be a book, it may be a white paper, it can be an infographic, all the things that we're going to go over today. So get a hold of that with the material. Ron Cates, who's one of the godfathers of modern email marketing, he wrote me a very nice testimonial in there about me being a badass or something, at least in this world. But he looked at me when we shared the stage a number of years ago. He says, Derek, you can do this. I'd like to have you involved with this. And it's forever changed my life in terms of digital marketing. So very, very exciting. Today we have a promise during this presentation. You will have the opportunity to forever change the way you do this, but more specifically, you will receive over $300 worth of resources. There's no risk, there's no obligation to be able to do this. And this is actually where I can talk with you one-on-one. There's no cost to that. We have some stuff that's low cost here, but there's absolutely no risk. And we can actually do some of the work for you. It's one thing for somebody to teach you. It's one thing for somebody to point you in the right direction. But it's another that I've always wanted and appreciated is when somebody helps me do the heavy lifting and actually does some of the work for me. So we're happy to help. There's a delay on the slide here. Here's a matrix, and we're going to keep this real simple. And by the way, this whole presentation is available for you as a free download. Just stay till the end here. And the matrix is your unique personal competencies and personal passion. This is a way that you can customize your content to be able to use this. You want to be able to find the content and your message to market sweet spot. Very, very important. When you get this right, you're going to discover in marketing that your best prospects are working as hard to find you as you are to find them. It's really a great dynamic when we get this thing right. Building up platforms to establish your best media and form of communication. That can be writing, that can be images, that can be graphics, YouTube, podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. You do not need to be good at all of them. Find one that will work. And this is, by the way, the same checklist I use in a private one-on-one session. how to harvest an audience, use media to have convert your contacts to and visitors to your website or social media or even face-to-face into long-term customers. Monetization. Now that your expertise is established, how can you monetize this to continue the relationship? At its core, marketing is about getting results, right? That's the name of the game. Here's where, again, you're going to get this presentation, but if you're going to take some notes today and you got your pencil handy, you got your pen handy, here's a great formula that you can use, 3 steps for creating your own content. Begin with a list of questions, the last question that a customer or a client asks you. So put yourself in their mind. What are questions and things that are, they are concerned about? Find a picture. We're going to talk later about using your wonderful cameras, images that you can use. Find a picture, whether you create it yourself or you find it online or scan it, like I did that old picture. Write a paragraph. So chocolate is delicious. It is delightful. A flower, probably something that relates to your business. And create a call to action, or in the business, we call this a CTA, or a call to action. So buy now, donate now, find out more information, schedule an appointment, call this number. What's the action that somebody is actually going to use to generate business? What kind of results are you looking at? What type of action? That's an important question. And at different times, those are going to be different things. You may always say, buy now, but we probably want to engage the business. The best customer is typically an educated customer. So what kind of results are you looking for? They can be clicks and downloads, the text to join information, visits to your office or store, reservations or appointment calls to you. Consider any and all of these at different times. Direct response marketing always has a clear call to action. Why is your email content so important? Well, you can't just send out air. There needs to be some engaging information. Content is considered currency. Be the source for your readers so that they know and like and trust you. Answers to their questions, Q&A can be very, very good. So here's the formula. You have a picture that can be your business, you write a paragraph, and you have a call to action. Kind of a simple formula. There's some much more advanced things to do, but if you're new to creating content, that's a great 3-step formula. Excuse me. Here's what's very important, is write to your audience, not to yourself. Great copywriter Robert Collier said, meet the people where they are. So if you're writing to newlyweds, if you're a lawyer and somebody's having legal problems or there's a legal opportunity, write to where they're at. Somebody starting a business, somebody is hungry for food. Where are they at right now? We can all understand if we're hungry, we understand the desire to go get food. If we're full, well, we have to put our mindset in the mindset that as if somebody was hungry. What is your audience? Again, write for your audience, not for yourself. This is important for a number of reasons. A, there's profit reasons, but 38% will unsubscribe for any reason if your material is boring, if it doesn't feel that it relates to them, or if they believe it is spam or irrelevant to what they're doing. Here's part of our agenda today here, how to create material, how to curate the material. Curate is a good one. This is like a good word. It's like forming or bringing content together. We've heard of museum curators who bring information together. I asked my daughter in her 20s a few days ago about if she listens to Pandora or Spotify, and she says, Dad, I have all variety of way of curating my music. So it's a word that's popping into our culture and young people are using it. So she's collecting music from YouTube channels, from Pandora, from free sources, etc., that she's using. Like I certainly used FM radio at the time to provide content. So you too can curate information. It's very important to do that. You do not have to do all the work yourself. then extend the reach. It's nice to have it all for yourself, but don't keep it to yourself. Share that information with your best clients, prospects, and influencers. There's a delay here. And then we're going to find out what our next steps are. Creating content here. So there's any myriad of education, listings, offerings, testimonials. Just take that in and do it all. Well, do it all, but you don't have to do it all today. Coupons, et cetera, et cetera. Start with a short list. The idea is staying top of mind. And that's why email is such a fantastic way of doing this. By the way, we're not opening this up for questions. We've got a number of people on the line here, and they're all variety. And I want to go over the best practices. You're going to have an opportunity to have a 30-minute one-on-one session with me in the next couple of days. But one question that is I see somebody already ask it here, is about the frequency and the volume of content. Frequency is very good. Always once a month, twice a month is good. You will probably get exhausted producing it before your best prospects will do this. So once a week is an ideal model. You will find that business, this is not my opinion, this is based on facts. As long as you're writing to the right market, you're giving them the right message, but you're keeping top of mind consciousness. And up until very recently, the objective was marketing, or the hindering component was the cost. If you were paying, like the example of Super Bowls, if it's $1 million or $2 million, it's not that much on a typical television show, but the point is there's a very limiting cost factor. With this modern form of communication, particularly email, but I don't want your thinking to be limited to that. It's now a matter of your mind and your resources and talent, not a matter of what the media costs are. So that has totally gone away. And if you're past the age of about 30, that's never been a concept before, that you actually have, I don't want to call it free because there is some cost, but with these accounts here, whether you send once a month or once a year or every day, it doesn't cost us any more to do that. So let's keep that top of mind awareness and understand the benefit of that. So you want to have offerings. This is the short list here. Before I start talking about top of the mind awareness, you have offerings, updates, education, very, very important. Be an authority figure in your field. And then have some entertaining value. Tell something that's personal that keeps people engaged. How much is enough? Okay. If you are a professional writer, photographer, you can get away typically with more if you're keeping people entertained and engaged. But the three things, a picture, a paragraph, and a call to action, you're going to see. And better, by the way, this is where committees are dangerous. I work with a lot of chambers of commerce, and somebody will go to the board and they say, well, we've got 20 things to share. And I'll say, well, how about you do 20 separate emails, board meetings, open houses, coffee, networking meetings, lunch and learns, et cetera, special offers, donations. And the practical mind, seemingly practical, will say, just put it all into one email and send it out to me once a month, and I'll decide what I need. It doesn't work that way. The same statistics will open for that once a month as will open 20 times a month, or maybe 10 times a month where there's two things to share, but that's about as much as the mind can absorb. So here we're going to say less is more and increase the frequency. Somebody can read your material, take a look at the pictures, take action on it or not, but you are keeping top of mind awareness. Fewer clicks typically have more action. Remember that half of your emails or more are being read on a mobile device. You can actually see your statistics. Go see my webinar on mobile, harnessing the power of mobile. The average right now is over 50% are reading on mobile here. And this is a great example here in a case study of Bosubal. And you see over there, right here, the different calls to action. But I want to point out, before we even did that, they had an average open rate of just over 21%, which, by the way, is very good. If you're new to the system here, 20% is a good open rate. In their case, it was about 3% above industry average. So everybody was fine. They brought me in not as a content, not as a copywriter, but just to make their their templates mobile, which for me is what I call a plumbing issue. We need to get our creative, but we also need our plumbing, meaning the shape is right, the connections are appropriate, and bam, the open rate went from 21 to almost 35%. Now you can say that's a 14-15% increase. It really represents almost a 50% increase in eyes that are seeing that. The open rates or the click rates went from 10% to 35%. So this represents a potential additional business, and I do believe it is a fact, an extra 350% of sales. You cannot ignore that. Structure makes it easier. By the way, follow your same format. You do not need to reinvent the wheel every time. Take your colors, take your images, and follow that. Use outlines. Keep a list of topics that you want to use. Numbering is very good, and odd numbers are good. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. There's something about the mind that wants to conclude with an even number, but you can show your expertise and make it look like you. Use your personality, use your image. A lot of times, franchise owners or licensees, they want to constantly replicate the company here. If you have the opportunity, stand on the shoulders of the giant, not in the shadows. Important distinction. This is a newsletter that I have. You'll see the Rogue Marketing System. There's a structure that replicates itself both online and offline. You can gauge your best readers with questions. Okay, forgive me, I'm going to have to look over here the other way. There can be questions here, and then there's specific ways to write those. 5 ways to protect your pipes. Answers to 3 mileage deduction questions. That's a good question. The first one for a plumber, second one for an accountant or bookkeeper. Red or white, 5 simple wine tasting. So answer questions that people have. You may think that just because you're in the business, oh, everybody knows that. Everybody doesn't know that. Okay, if you're a dentist and you think everybody knows to floss their teeth, they don't. And even if they do know that, it doesn't mean that they are, and they should, and they appreciate hearing that from you, the expert. I'm not a dentist, I'm not an expert, but please floss every day. Floss twice a day. It's very, very healthy for you. Email marketing here. This is where the format, we used to get this question a lot where people say, well, I'll just send from my Gmail or Outlook. That doesn't work. You've got spam problems. You don't know who opens it, and they become very text intensive. The one here on the left of your screen looks like our high school formal letter paper that we had to write. Unless you're a very, very effective writer, and I don't mean master's degree level writer, I'm talking about an entertaining, engaging writer, and you will have already made a very good income if that is the case for you. These can take a long time to write. Pictures and call to actions are much easier for most of us and more efficient to do. So with these full color HTML emails that you're sending, take advantage of that. Images are content too, and the mind responds to images that you have, the way it's processed. It's been said a picture is worth 1,000 words. It really is. Use that to help people respond. Communicate through pictures, make them clickable. I only wish right now we had things for you to click on. When you get magazines or newspaper, there's a term for it. It's kinesthetic activity device, and that's everybody move your hands right now. Yeah, take that exercise here. It keeps you engaged with the action above. Keep your call to action above the scroll line. The scroll line is on your screen and in a mobile environment here above the scroll line. I don't need to be changing my computer settings here or my cell phone settings. But typically it's better to keep the call to action above the scroll line because that's where people are getting beyond that. We're going to show the clicking sharing. This is the social media here. This is a link. We put this on all our templates. You can temporarily remove this, but this is a way for people to share information. This is not a very good picture here, but this made a dramatic change in the Premier Dance connection. It's a singles dance for essentially senior citizens. They wouldn't appreciate me calling them senior citizens, but a more mature audience. And the owner of the company only had one image. We about doubled his open rate by saying, are you in this photo? and people who were there, or even if they weren't there, they wanted to see who was in the picture here. So now a photo is engagement. Now we have them doing all sorts of photos and images. Ideas, brainstorms to focus on your business. What's the experience of being in your business here? And by the way, guys, I kind of like even boring businesses. Got a great client, Ultraflow, and they sell plumbing supplies to beer distributors who replace these in bars and taverns and restaurants, etc. But think about your business, the environment that you work at, because now in a business where the competition has no sex appeal, nothing dynamic, what can you add to that? What's the experience? You all are joining me right now high atop my second floor mastermind hideout. This is where, if I'm not out live or doing consulting, this is where I work on my client's business. I want you to enjoy the experience. What's your environment that you're working in? And some of you, by the way, do have really exciting environments. You better make them. What's your expertise, or what's the expertise of your client? What are the themes? The themes, and these, I'm not asking you questions like a junior high school teacher and say wrong or they're not, but a lot of you can have themes, whether it's a grand opening, whether it's a seasonal celebration. There's hardly a day, certainly every month has a holiday, but there almost every day there's some celebration, there's some activity, there's something that happened in this point in history that you can use to make your communications more interesting and engaging. Katie Held is a client of mine. She works with mostly children, but some adults that have ADHD and attention deficit syndrome and all things. And she has a story to tell. When her son Oscar was born, he had a partial, what's the word, stroke, and he's experienced some of these challenges throughout her life. So she has an ebook. It's about 58 pages. We helped her curate the content, share her very important story as a motivated mother and how she sought the expertise that she didn't find. And now she wants to work with and help this community. So this now white paper or 58-page ebook is available as a free download. She gives of herself. She can also repurpose that content over and over again, almost endlessly, because with each new client she works with, there's a new story, there's a new engagement. Okay, I use the story there with the ADHD scenario because it's a little bit obtuse, but you can be in the insurance business, you can be an attorney, you can be an educator, you can be in, name the business, throw it at me here, and there's ways to create very, very valuable content. And it positions you very, very well. Your expertise, your environment, and your business and your theme. Working with photos, this is good. Choose the right size. There's a list of recommendations. Again, I'm not a technical person, but it's 640 pixels by 430. Follow the best practices when you get in there. If my company or somebody who's a professional does it, get them to size them. Graphic artist. I don't have a sample here, but I love graphic artists. I've hired a lot of them over the years I've worked with them. But sometimes they have a problem of, and photographers too, of taking these huge images because they get so proud of their content and they go, oh, the bigger the image, the better. And it just doesn't fit, or it gets cut off as part of the image. So be careful, choose the right size. Avoid copyright problems. Just because it's available on the internet does not mean, and it doesn't have a copyright logo, doesn't mean we have the right to use that. Use your own photos or stock images. We're going to tell you about how to access stock images where they're free or they're low cost. There was a time you'd have to pay a photographer if you wanted a picture of whatever, name it. You'd have to pay a photographer to get that picture. And then stock photos became, but they were still expensive, sometimes hundreds of dollars a piece, which 15, 20 years ago was reasonable because you didn't have to go to all these other expenses. Now, for low cost or virtually free, you can get that. You can go to Big Stock, you can go to Stock Vault, you can go to Free Images. Within your Constant Contact account, there's both some free and low cost. I think $4, $6, especially if you're going to use them over and over again. And you're in the landscape business and you need a picture of a flower or a bed or a design or something, and the time and energy, you can virtually instantly get that. Oh, by the way, if you're working with children, please don't take pictures of the children without mom and dad's permission or put those up on your website. And it's probably better out not to. There's stock images, and we live in a goofy world out there, and it's just better not to go there. So take a look at that. There's great images that you can use, that you can create yourself with videos, because take these images, have your best clients and prospects take images, but you can create your own video. A client of mine, Brett Barker, owns 3 Anytime fitness centers here, and I wanted to show you, this is an image. I hope the volume comes out very well here, but he can, that's actually on the next slide here, where you can do an informal setting where you're kind of explaining just like I am. Typically it's 30 seconds or maybe a minute long, but share. Mention that you have a video in your subject line, a new video attached, 50% more views. Keep your videos typically to under 90 seconds. There are exceptions to use that. Use these for video, demo products, testimonials. And by the way, people don't expect them to be perfect. They don't. The camera, don't have it jiggle and be annoying. And I know I move my hands too much, so let me serve as a, I'm not even Italian. Don't let yourself express yourself, or your best clients or testimonials. Use that for promotions and or your employees doing that. Now here's Brett, and this is a sample. This is just a video. I think either his wife took this or he put this on a tripod. I'm not sure how the sound is, but we're going to replay this for you, whatever it is, 30 seconds of this. So he can tell his story, why he is asking his members to take a survey. So here we go.
President of Anytime Fitness. It is our goal to provide a service and facility that you can be proud of and enjoy. We pride ourselves in a surprisingly versatile experience and a mission to constantly never-ending improvement, which is why.
I'm not sure where that extra music came in. I think that was from the Play That Funky Music. That was the next song on the soundtrack. But here we see Brett, and this just goes to a YouTube page. To date, he's had 123 views, not particularly big, but this is available as a free source of media. So use this where you can create your own images. He can repurpose this. He can use this one time or not. Oh yeah, there we go. That's the other music video. Create these for yourself. Curating content in the same vein as, I need to make sure that this other video, yeah, it should be off here. In the same veins, if you have a license or a franchise, this is another one that Brett used that he did not create, but that was professionally produced in the fitness world. There's a group session, it's called Alloy, and they don't, well, I guess they own the license or the ability to do this. So if you have an industry, we have a client who sells Disney vacations. So she'll do some of her own video, but Disney actually, through this service, has these like multi-million-dollar aerials of aerials, not like the whatever, the Little Mermaid, but aerial shots of the Magic Kingdom and the parks and the cruise lines and the different travel and everything that are available for her to use. And they want her to use this and to be able to do this. So in this case here, Brett has a licensed link. And let me get that over here. And this is called Alloy.
Really what makes Alloy unique is that there is a purpose for every one of the products.
Small group is a great session for those that are looking for that more personalized attention.
The small group sessions have changed my health completely. They're the highlight of my day.
You're not just training by yourself. And I think that's important. Just for,
so you can see the testimonials.
And, keeps you pushing harder with Alloy.
Demonstrations, examples.
Really focus on making sure that you're doing all the right moves correctly.
You're working with a coach, you might be with
Okay.
2 or 3 other individuals.
So understand here, you have these resources. There may be something that the government has produced or Center for Disease Control where you can create content. You can even, again, as long as legally you have the license or you have the right to be able to reproduce that, use that, credential that to support your argument or your cause. Putting links in your emails is very, very valuable. Keep those limited, and also you don't want to get people off the reservation. If you're having a serious call to action, be careful about getting them on a bunny trail in a different direction. So In some cases here, there may be too many of them, but it can actually help educate somebody, and it's material out there. So if you say, according to the Journal of American Medical Association, or according to the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, business that is being done this way, you credential yourself here. Where do you find this information? Well, check the news. One of the obvious nowadays is Google it, or use Bing or Yahoo or any of these services here. Read blogs, both within your industry, even your competitors. Follow social media. There's information. By the way, you want people to share your stuff. Oh yeah, plugging in Google Alerts is a great way, and subscribe to other people's emails and find out what's engaging. What's a good subject line? What will Spirit Airlines has some really, for a large, otherwise big dumb corporation, they behave like a smart organization. They'll have some edgy, the naked pack thing, and they'll have a guy or gal pretending to pack their clothes, and they white them out, and and then they take their clothes out. So they're a little edgy, but they're very, very engaging. And don't forget to give credit to whomever is getting that. Share content created by others. By the way, it's a great source if you get really heavily involved in this, where you can share information expert to expert or peer to peer to do this. Your employees can create very, very good information. Your members or your volunteers. Testimonials are very, very important. They're very valid to be able to create content value. I have one of my largest clients, just getting a testimonial from them, is the New York Snowmobile Association. Now I don't live in that state. I haven't met with those people in person, but I've worked with them for 5 or 6 years, and I've managed to get sponsorships that have paid for everything they've done. I've managed, because they're a nonprofit, to save them 30% per year on their own accounts. And I don't mean to say this to brag, but my point is, it's going to be a whole lot more meaningful for them to say that than for me to say that. And I'm sure you have fantastic stories and situations where you've helped out your clients, and that's important to have that shared. Speaking of sharing, we want to be able to extend. Once you have this material, you don't want to just use it once. You want to be able to use it many times and get it communicated over a broad range of environments. Email, social media, and sharing tools. And there's new ones and things coming out all the time. Facebook, we have a share tool where when you send your emails out and you have them scheduled to go out, they can immediately post to your Facebook page. Once they go out to your Facebook page, they can be then seen by your audience, and they can be referred on to others. Take those to Instagram. I want to get these orders right here. So you're going from email to Facebook to Instagram and any other social media, and there's plenty of them. LinkedIn is a good one in a professional to professional environment. Pinterest, these are all, and this is not a social media, but change is inevitable, and there will be new ones. Just like AM, FM radio, they're the same media, but they behave differently. But you have no problem figuring out the difference. Well, if you're a certain age, you may not know radio or the difference between AM and FM, but you'll get my point here. Increase your reach doing social media. Just doing that share, and sometimes I'm a little cynical about statistics, but the average increase is said to be 158%. I have no problem believing that, because let's just say you have 1,000 people on your email list. Some, by the way, you may start with 5 or 50. I've seen some people do very, very well with typically small environments. But you put this post share here on your emails for people to share, and you also have it posted to your social media. But this is something you can use even if you don't have social media. Your subscribers do. Well, 65-75% of them do, depending on higher depending on their age demographic. But here's my point. If you have 1,000 people on your list of subscribers, and the average person has 200, it's higher than that, but let's just say it's only 200. So 3 of those 1,000 do share it, and there's plenty of people who are just hungry to post content. That's just what they do 6-8 times a day. If you're one of them, Great, post my stuff, share it. Because I'm not posting that often. But if only 3 of them do that, that means each of those 3, you get your eyes on an additional 600, 3 times 2, or 200 times 3, and that is now a referred lead. So those are numbers we do not want to ignore. So use those share tools with all the different social media. And when that list comes up, there's 40 or 50 available social media tools, more than any of us could probably list all of those. So ask people to share. We always write it in there where we say, please share this with your friends and colleagues, because if you don't ask, it's not going to happen. If you do ask, and a fraction of 1% actually do it, the profit and the results can be just phenomenal. In the old days, we called this referral marketing, and it very much is. Somebody sees that on their social media post, that is now their recommendation. Very, very powerful. Not the only way to go, but a very good one, shouldn't be ignored. One of the punchlines in my workshops is somebody will say, but Derek, how much does it cost to do that? And I'll say, well, it's only an extra $200 a month. The punchline is it doesn't cost any extra to do it. It's just being knowledgeable to do that, or just set up those systems in place. But the more important point is it would be in a lot of instances worth 200 or a lot more to do that. So value your time and energy and get that exposure when you can. Expand your reach using social media tools. There's things like HubSpot. There's things that can automatically do this. Do not try to do everything in real time. That is a thing for teenagers to do. Your time is more valuable than that. So schedule these things to go in advance. Don't try to do those in real time. Getting thirsty here. Expand your reach. Remember to write for your audience. Remember to understand their thoughts, needs, and desires. Keep them relevant and keep the material focused. Look at your analytical tools. See what your open rate is. See what your statistics are. It can become very, very telling if there's a certain theme or process of things that are of interest to your audience. Find out what they want. Your 3 easy steps. Remember this from your notes from whatever it was 35 minutes ago. Take a question. What was the last question that somebody asked you? Or maybe it was a complaint or a compliment that somebody had. Find a picture. Take a picture of that. Oh, and by the way, the picture can sometimes be related, but not related. We'll do with our chamber, really with anybody who sometimes has lost customers, and everybody has some lost customers. And you can take a picture of like an upset baby just pouting and say, "We miss you. We miss you. We want you back. You didn't attend the event." Or a victory trophy saying, "Thank you so much for attending." Write a paragraph. "Thank you so much for attending. We appreciate that." You'll get a follow-up email from us, by the way, with the downloads and everything that we promised, if you stayed tuned, if you paid attention. Create a call to action, something that's meaningful, an action response mechanism so they can do that. Been a big fan of Bruce Lee growing up, the great movie star and martial artist, and he said, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. We must do. We've had a lot of material to cover. I've had a tight time budget here. Started off the session by saying, surround yourself with those on the same mission. Big believer in having a team. I get more passionate about people's business. Sometimes I'm more excited about working on somebody else's business than I do about my own, because I see it with a different set of eyes. This is, we did not want to turn this into a big sales pitch at all. You're going to have the PowerPoint presentation of everything I shared with you. Study that. We're going to give you a 30-minute one-on-one session, no obligation, not a sales pitch. We work on your business. Forgive me for looking in the opposite direction here, but I want to show exactly what we are promising. If you do want to buy something and you do not have a mobile optimized template, you need one. If you already have one, perhaps you need another one for a newsletter, a sales promotion, and announcement. Home office charges $197 for that. Very reasonable. Sometimes there's a sale for only $97. We will do that for you for $47. There's money back guarantee. I believe that we have something else to bring to the equation because we are actually always out there in the field. It's not just a matter of getting it technically correct, but we're able to understand the needs of your business, that it needs to be not only technically correct, but profitably correct. And well, you need both, but profitable is more important. We we also get 60 ways to grow your list. That's another free presentation that you get on the follow-up. And then please, if you have an interest or a passion, I'd like to talk with you one-on-one. We haven't been able to open this up for question because of time limits and restrictions. And understand there's the general best practices that we do in a corporate. I've added some secret sauce or my own personal information, but this presentation is really a constant contact material, and there's plenty of standard information out there for basics. But if you're looking for a better answer based on your unique business, your writing experience, being able to do that, I'd much prefer to answer those questions one-off and then later publish that information in our blog and in other sources there. So seven ways, you can see that there, missed opportunities to be able to do that. If you want to take care of this right away, go to Rogue Marketing Systems. That's Rogue, not Rouge, but Rogue, ROGUE, Marketing Systems, plural.com/contact, and you will see this calendar here. Go to the Constant Contact Kickstart call, click, this is not a live, click there, and you will get immediate access to my telephone appointment schedule, and you can pick a time and a date. Just put your name in there, your phone number that you want. I will call you at the appointed time, and we will talk about your business with the same enthusiasm and excitement that we have right now. Again, that's a free Kickstart program. It's $47 if you want the mobile optimized thing. Again, that's not a money maker for us, but if you feel compelled to buy something, you're welcome to do that. That's not my motivation right now. My motivation is to educate, inform, and connect with the people who are most inspired about the business. And if you've seen any of my recordings, the passion that I want to share, and I only want to work with people who want to take their message, we can say content, but it's really a broader thing to their audience. If you're passionate that it helps people, that it's a cause that's important, that it's a valuable service or product, and if you don't feel passionate about them, please don't contact me. I don't need negative energy or just somebody punching the numbers or the person that go, oh, I know all that. There's no thing. We all have to learn on a regular basis here. Again, here's what we have to offer. Before I get the hook here, we don't have that music queued up. I had that going, but Derek Freund, Rogue Marketing Systems, Constant Contact, ALE, whatever that is, authorized local expert, over and out. Thank you so much for being on this webinar today. And next time, also find out about our library where we have like over 20 of these webinars available totally for you on demand. And until next time, Derek Freund, high atop the second floor Mastermind Hideout, over and out. God bless. See you soon.